Something is shifting in our schools, and it's not just about academics. Thousands of students across the country are struggling, and not in the way most headlines talk about. We asked over 1,000 school based professionals what's really happening. What we heard: emotional overload, rising referrals, and a cry for change. If you're a therapist, an educator, or an administrator, these insights might just validate what you've already been seeing in your own school. Hey there, I'm Margaret from your therapy source, and in the spring of 2025, we launched a national survey to better understand the real trends showing up in U.S. schools. We shared the survey with our newsletter subscribers and on Facebook, and in just 2 weeks, we heard back from 1,027 professionals working in schools across the country. So let's start with who answered the survey. Over 50% of the respondents were school based occupational therapy providers. That's important to note because it does shape the data. They see student needs through a developmental and functional lens, not just academics. But we also heard from teachers, physical therapists, SLPs, and social workers, giving us a wide angle view of the support systems in schools right now. One of the clearest takeaways: 63% said referrals for support services are rising, and not just a little. More than 1 in 4 reported a significant increase. That's a huge signal that schools are seeing kids struggle more than before. Only about 5% said referrals went down. So we asked which areas students are struggling with the most. And here's what stood out: 74% said self regulation, 46% said attention span, and 41% said executive functioning. Those numbers are staggering. Keep in mind they were allowed to choose three, so that's why those numbers don't add up to 100%. So I don't want you to be confused. But fine motor skills, sensory processing, and social participation also ranked high. And there were write in suggestions too, things like behavior, emotional regulation, and handwriting. So, what's causing this spike? The respondents were allowed to pick up to two top reasons, and the biggest were emotional and sensory regulation needs at 51%. A lot of professionals felt that increased screen time at 50% is influencing the spike. And delays linked to early childhood experiences, 30% picked that. And other themes included less playtime, more pressure, and reduced movement in school. So next we asked what one change could make a difference. The top answer: more time for play and hands-on learning. That was nearly 25% of the responses. Others called for reducing academic demands, better staff training, more sensory breaks, and life skill development. People also mentioned that we need better collaboration with families and fewer standardized tests. So finally, we asked what should schools actually focus on next year? Here's what stood out: 31% said emotional and self regulation skills, 24% said attention and executive function skills, and only 1.5% said academics. That speaks volumes. We're being told to focus on the foundational skills first: regulation, focus, relationships, then academics. So, this data confirms what many of us are probably seeing. Kids aren't just academically behind, they're developmentally overwhelmed. And it's time for schools to shift. If you're a decision maker, an educator, or a therapist, now's the time to advocate for more whole child supports. The classroom of the future isn't just more tech, it's more connection, more regulation, and more play. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, share it with someone who needs to see the data too. You can head on over to your therapy source to check out the entire blog post where you can see some of the graphics and all the data there. All right, see you next time.